What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? We've got Season 4 tier list here, and I've been doing quite a few takes here, trying to get this right. I've been nervous as all hell, as always, so I apologize if, I'm, like, winded or I sound like an idiot. So that's my, that's my apology up front. Now, as you can see, there's quite a few changes this time around, especially with Medusa jumping all the way up to SS. Medusa is looking really strong right now because she got a buff to her ultimate, which means that it now does a strong amount of damage even when the target isn't facing you, and that is extremely significant for a 1v1 scenario when it's almost impossible to catch the opponent looking. So with that base damage increase, her ultimate is swinging. And of course it also applies the slow, and she got a healing debuff increase on her 3, so she's even more in your face and able to counter, lifesteal in the Hunter Ditto. So that's very strong for her. But the most important change was Fatalis being buffed. Now Fatalis can be rushed like off the bat after Devo gloves in almost every situation for a Hunter, meaning that the Fatalis, like, usually it was the thing, like, once they got Fatalis online, you couldn't really box the Hunter, so you had to get ahead before that point. Now the Fatalis can be rushed very, very quickly, and it synergizes so well with Medusa's passive that she's able to strafe and outbox almost every ADC in the game. I heavily disagreed with Medusa being this high when I first was looking at it. A lot of the top players were telling me that she was this good, and I just didn't believe it. And then I, saw it firsthand, both by playing her and playing against her a lot, and seeing how successful she was, and just how much better she was than a lot of the other top ADCs. And I definitely think that this is the place for her. But on that note, if you disagree with anything in the tier list, feel free to, leave a comment down below. As I explain up here, this is a tentative tier list. This is kind of just my initial impressions, right? Because I don't want to give you anything set in stone. Well, I never want to give you anything set in stone, but especially now. It's a whole new season. There's all new relics, new rituals, and everything. Items just all got changed and stuff, But there's one thing that is certain, is that Fatalis is OP, and that you can expect all the gods that benefited from Fatalis to be even better now. And all of the ADCs whose, calling card was Fatalis in Duel, they're all going to be much better than ever. So it's very difficult right now to fight them. But with that said, Hebo, you'll notice, is still up here. Or not still up here, but I think he was top of S plus before and is now in SS. This is something that I'm not 100% on, but based on a lot of conversations I've had with, higher level duel players, because I do try to take into account what a lot of different people think, because I don't want to just go straight on my own, I want to weigh what everyone else's opinions are and factor that into my tier list. But Hebo seems really crazy because, one, Divine Ruin got hugely buffed, so you can rush right into it against an ADC as Hebo and still have the healing reduction and penetration on it now. So that's fantastic. It's a really solid item against ADCs for them right now. And the Bracer of Undoing on Hebo actually makes him able to have his 3-1 combo right back up after you use the combo. So you can 3-1 somebody, Bracer of Undoing, 3-1 them again. It's kind of nuts. So yeah, as soon as I saw that item, I thought that was going to be big for Hebo, and it seems to be proving that way. Apollo got majorly buffed. He's very good right now. I think a lot of people are overvaluing him a little bit, though, and I'll talk about why. I think Apollo is a lot lower skill cap than gods like Ullr, Anhur, and Hou-Yi. He's a very easy ADC to use. Whenever anybody asks me how I get into ADCs, I always tell them to play Apollo, because Apollo is very simple. He doesn't need to do anything too crazy technical in order to succeed. And right now his clear is like crazy buffed. They added the laser property back to his 1 in that it just keeps it hits, for everyone in a line the same amount. It doesn't stale anymore as it goes through enemies. So that's big. That's really big for him. He could be higher than that, but I doubt it, honestly. I feel like both Anhur and Ullr still beat him. And even Baka right now, Baka's another one I want to talk about. He's very strong. He's broken as hell. But most of these gods are. These guys all pretty much are. Hou-Yi, the question mark here, the reason that Hou-Yi's here is I feel like when he's played at a top level, he's one of those gods with a much higher skill cap. Him probably the most out of any of those top hunters. Maybe the most out of any hunter in general, because if you have an opponent that's triple shotting or ricocheting 3 times against all of the buffs, they can guarantee themselves almost every buff. And if they're using their combo on you very well in the lane, that can become very dangerous for you to fight into. So I think Hou Yi is definitely one that we don't see enough of anymore, because he's not as broken as he used to be, but he's still insanely strong. General changes. Kronos, of course, had a big downfall because he no longer has the Fatalis effect on his 2, and that's really bad. Like that's a huge change. That was pretty much what made Kronos like out the bat strong as hell. Even though he had a little bit of a weaker early game, he could transition extremely well, and as he got his items online, having that Fatalis on the 2 was just something that would allow him to either catch up to you or disengage while boxing very well, and get a lot of safe poke in. Now that mechanic is entirely gone for him, so this is another one of those where I'm not too sure if this is where he'll stay or not. He is getting a buff to his 2 where he's going to get extra movement speed. I don't think it's going to bump him up further than S tier. I doubt he'll be an S+, because the hunters should all pretty much still outshine him by quite a little bit. But I think I'm pretty happy with that placement right now. But he has room to move up within S for sure, in my opinion. So definitely going to keep my eyes on him, because his ult is still a very strong mechanic for a 1v1 scenario, and he still does a lot of damage. He's still a hyper carry. But to the extent of how well he can box you now, that's entirely changed. So that's why it's such a significant drop. Now, Freya, still as great as ever, Fatalis buff. Telkine's being even stronger item than like any of her previous options. AMC still fantastic on her. Uller, all these guys that were at the top, I believe, remain at the top. Just a couple of changes here and there. So Poseidon indirectly buffed with the Fatalis buff, but also tier 2 Sunder has made a lot of changes for certain gods that can pile in a lot of burst, guaranteed. For instance, Serket now, especially with her ultimate, is insanely strong, because that tier 2 Sunder plus her ult means that the entirety of that ultimate is ticking for an extra 30% damage, and that's crazy, man, because it's unavoidable, that ultimate. The only thing you can do is Aegis it, then she can have it right back up again before your Aegis comes up. So it's and the same thing of course goes for Poseidon if he lands a really good Kraken with the Sunder. But even more so for Serket, given that she wasn't that strong before. Now her kill potential is insane. For instance, I think she actually beat someone like Freya in a head-to-head. I've lost that personally. It's the only match I've lost so far on my tryhard account, Freya versus Serket, because she has the kill potential, and she can lock Freya down easy. She can CC her and then get the kill. If somebody can one-shot Freya, same as like a Loki was able to do in last season, and might still be able to do now, Freya, she can be beaten there. She can bleed. And a lot of people are definitely going to question Loki's placement. I question Loki's placement all the time. Loki is like the biggest scumbag god, and sometimes he pulls wins out of thin air that seem absolutely ridiculous. But I still remain with the attitude that towards the competitive end of the spectrum, the top level, I think that Loki has less and less success because more people know how to play against him, and they don't allow him to, exploit his shenanigans. But that said, you make one mistake and he can still take the game from you. So that's really... that's something that you can't really account for that well. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean that the Loki, is it rational to say that, okay, just don't make a mistake against him because it's just like one mistake? But like I said, so it makes very difficult for balancing a tier list kind of perspective. But yeah, Loki's always one that has a question mark in my mind. And Heartseeker is also something that's going to make a lot of gods more viable. Heartseeker on the better assassins, like I said, Serket. I'm not sure if it's built on Hunbots. That's another thing I have to experiment with who you build this on. Susano, it's gonna be very good on. I think Camazotz, it'll be really strong onto. So Heartseeker, oh, and Thanatos. Thanatos had a huge rise. Sorry, I'm like really bouncing off the walls here at this list. There's so many gods now, and there's so many changes this season that it's hard to give like a general, overview of it without going too in depth with each god and the changes that have been made. But Heartseeker allowing that extra 100% of your physical power on the ability that you proc on a god specifically is fantastic. And for Thanatos, that means that his Death Scythe is hitting like a ton of bricks, and of course paired with his ultimate, which has always been quite strong in Duel, he is a monster. And Anubis with Shield of Thorns, just to give you guys like examples of each god, how the itemization hurts or helps them. Anubis went down quite a bit because Shield of Thorns can now be used against him, and it's a 50% reflection of the damage that you're receiving. So against an Anubis ult, you pop Shield of Thorns, and he's taking a shit ton of damage, and it's quite rough to deal with. There really is nothing you can do to deal with that situation as Anubis, other than wait for the Shield of Thorns to be down next time and engage. But you're by that time, the opponent has already pressed an obvious lead in their favor in the engagement, and they should kill you off of that probably, because you probably have to cancel your ult. It's that bad. So he's seeing quite a bit of a lull, in my opinion, in his in his performance this season. Other gods like Hercules got super benefited by Shield of Regrowth, the new Sunder, and his new passive. He's swinging Hercules. He actually has room to move up even higher, and I think so does Thanatos. I'm going to keep my eyes on both of these gods. Trying to think if anything else major has changed. I know I've probably missed something or everything. But other than that, a lot of the stuff remains mostly the same for me for now. And I want to emphasize for now because this is a new season. There's so much that can be changed. I'm hoping that it's for the better. But right now, it's so polarized towards these top gods. How many are there? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. These 11 gods. Maybe with Hou Yi cut off a little bit. Like I said, I'm still not 100% sold. It's just because not a lot of people use him to the extent that I know he can be utilized. It's kind of, this is all you're going to see at top level Duel, and a lot of people are getting frustrated with that. I'm hoping that can change more than anything, because it's very frustrating playing this game mode and seeing that. And it's very frustrating for, you guys to go in and have to just, conform to that. So I definitely understand a lot of people's frustration right now. I'm hoping that things get better. I'm trying to, do a lot of workarounds with the tier 2 Sunder to hope that that item, just because of how much of a game changer it is, that it could change the state of things for a lot of gods that otherwise wouldn't be in a winning matchup. So we just got to work around it and see if we can make things work and make things change a bit. It's always going to be up to the Duel players to make the game mode change, because there's not a lot of help from high-res, let's be real. But I'm going to keep working this season to try to make sure that I have a good balance of, competitive insight and fun and entertainment on this account. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that this benefits you, allows you to, just have a glimpse of the types of gods that you'll be seeing most, the types of gods that you'll be seeing the least. Like I said, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think of it, and I'll be constantly updating this. So if you want to give it a like, I don't know. Oh, that NShadow guy already liked it. Never mind. Give it a like. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.